Since 2014, thousands of people have attended iMagicon, the Comic-Con event that's entering its 10th year in the Magic City. Crystal Quao stops by to see what the convention has in store for its anniversary.
Vendors are at it again, setting up all kinds of merchandise from snacks and swords to omari and plushies ahead of this year's iMagicon. George Makus with Comic Rec is trading manga at his booth this weekend.
If you know anybody looking to downsize or get rid of their awkward Christmas gifts, we pay cash or double it in merchandise.
Apart from items sold and traded, one of iMagicon's biggest draws is the chance for people to cosplay. Philip Fazio with Open Dead Inside says the thing he enjoys the most is people.
Everybody has a child inside them still, no matter how old you get.
Games will be sold and played. Dragon Ball tournaments, Uno, and Dungeons of Dragons are on the schedule. Leanne Mullum, one of the founders of iMagicon, says it's a competitive and fun atmosphere.
All different fandoms, all different genres kind of all come together under one roof here.
It's another place where people dress up as characters outside of Halloween or the theater. Mullum says they have cosplay contests for the youth and adults.
You have them coming up on stage, and it might be their first time on stage, but yet they're gaining that confidence in a very welcoming environment.
Over the years, actors, storytellers, and others behind the scenes have joined iMagicon for discussions and to meet fans. This year, Deep Roy, who you may recognize from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Star Wars, is one of the headliners set to make an appearance. At the Minot Municipal Auditorium, I'm Crystal Quao reporting for your news leader.
When doors open for iMagicon tomorrow, tickets will be half off for military members and dependents. Look for a special interview with Deep Roy tomorrow. The con runs through Sunday at the auditorium. We'll have a link to the full guest lineup and event schedule in this story on our website.